It's math time! Hello students, so it's me again, Sir JB, your math teacher for today. So we are done discussing the topic on how to find the number of outcomes using tree diagram. Today, let's find out on how to find the number of outcomes using fundamental counting principles. Are you ready? Let's go!
1, 2, 3, come on!
Our objective for today is number 1. Count the number of occurrences of an outcome in an event or category using fundamental counting principles. And number 2, create a digital poster with a hashtag, I can save the earth, applying the reduce, reuse, and recycle, or the 3 R's. So before we proceed with our lesson, so let's have first a review exercise on finding the number of outcomes using tree diagram. So pause this video and then play it again to check your answers. Okay? So now, let's check your work.
So in number 1, how many numbers of outcomes are there? Nice! There are 6 outcomes. How about in number 2? How many numbers of outcomes are there? Excellent! There are also 6 outcomes. And lastly, number 3. How many numbers of outcomes are there? Very good! There are 8 outcomes. Congratulations! Let's have this example conclusion map. Let us analyze and observe the 3 answers. For number 1, for a meal to eat, on the first event or category, you have 3 ways of choosing for the main dish. A choice of a chicken, a fish, or a beef. And on the second event or category, you have 2 ways of choosing for a dessert. It's either a cake or a pudding, with an outcome of 6 ways of choosing a meal to eat. For number 2, an outfit to wear. On the first event or category, you have 2 ways of choosing for the shirt to wear. It's either a green or a blue shirt. For the second event or category, you have 3 ways of choosing a pants. A choice of blue, black, or khaki pants, with an outcome of 6 ways of an outfit to wear. For number 3, a snack to eat. On the first event or category, you have 2 ways of choosing the first snack. It's either a pizza or a spaghetti. For the second event or category, you have 2 ways of choosing for a drink. It's either a milk or a juice. For the last event or category, you also have 2 ways of choosing for a dessert. It's either a pudding or an apple, with an outcome of 8 ways for a snack to eat.
So out of those 3 answers, I want you to make your own conclusion and then make your own example. So pause this video and then play it again to check your answers.
We can conclude that if there are m ways to do one thing in the first event and n ways to do on the second event, then there are m times n ways of doing both. Did you have the same conclusion? Very good! And that is fundamental counting principle.
Let's define what is fundamental counting principle.
Fundamental counting principle, it is a process of counting to figure out the total number of ways different events can occur. Thus, when there are m ways to do the first event or category and n ways to do the second event, then there are mn ways to do the whole event.
So let's have our activity to know more about fundamental counting principles. So the title of our activity for today is I can save the earth. So let's have activity number 1, reduce and reuse.
JV is thinking of something that he can do to help his family. First, he wanted to apply the idea of reducing by choosing one of the following scenarios. turning off the water when brushing his teeth, buying less of the things he wants, and using energy-efficient bulbs and appliances. Also, he wanted to apply the idea of reusing by selecting one of the following scenarios: using refillable water bottles, using the usable grocery bags, using the backside of the intermediate paper, or using the used materials for crafts. In how many ways can he help his family by reducing and reusing? So to answer the problem, let's answer the following guide questions. Number 1. How many events or categories were presented in the problem? Very good. There are 2 events. The first event is applying the idea of reducing, and the second event is applying the idea of reuse. Number 2 question. In how many ways he can help his family by reducing? Nice! There are 3 ways. Next question. In how many ways he can help his family by reducing? Very good! There are 4 ways. Now, let's solve. So, on the first event, we have 3. And on the second event, we have 4. So, 3 times 4. So, this is equal to 12. Therefore, there are 12 ways of doing the first and the second event by reducing and reusing. Did you know the most effective way to reduce waste is not to create it in the first place? Making a new product requires a lot of materials and energy. Raw materials must be extracted from the environment, and the product must be fabricated, then transported to wherever it will be sold. As a result, reducing and reusing materials were the most effective ways on saving natural resources, protecting the environment, and saving money.
Very good. Now, let's go to activity number 2. So, this is recycle.
Ben wants to recycle the plastic bottles he has consumed during quarantine. He can choose to make a piggy bank, a hanging basket, a pencil case, or a watering container. The choice of his favorite color in the said recyclable materials are as follow: blue or yellow. He can also choose to decide whether to sell or to donate it. In how many ways can he recycle the plastic bottles? So to answer the problem, let's answer the following guide questions. How many events or categories were presented in the problem? Very good. There are 3 events or category in the problem. Next question. In how many ways he can choose to recycle the plastic bottles? Nice! There are 4 ways in choosing to decide what to do on the plastic bottles. Next question. In how many ways he can choose to color the said recyclable materials? Very good! There are 2 ways of choosing for his favorite color. And lastly, in how many ways she can choose for the last event or category? Very good! There are 2 ways, so it's either to sell it or to donate it. Now, let's solve. So on the first event, we have 4 ways. And on the second event, we have 2 ways. And on the last event, we also have 2 ways. So 4 times 2 times 2. So this is equal to 16. Therefore, there are 16 ways he can recycle the plastic bottles. Let's go to the last problem. Che wants to recycle the used paper materials available in their home, like newspapers and bond papers. From the used paper materials, she can choose to make a paper bag, a gift wrapper, or a vase. The choice of color in the said recyclable materials are as follow: yellow, blue, or red. In how many ways can she recycle the used paper materials? Now, it's your turn. Try to answer this problem. I will give you 2 minutes to answer this. Pause this video and play it again to check your answer. Let us check your work. We have 2 events or categories here in our problem. On the first event, we have 3 ways of choosing to recycle the used paper materials. And 3 ways on the second event. By multiplying the events, so there are 9 ways to recycle the used paper materials. Did you get the same answer? Very good! Did you know? Recycling is the process of collecting and processing materials that would be otherwise be thrown away as a trash and turning them into new products. Recycling can benefit your community and as well as the environment you are living.
Now, let's generalize. So for you to find the number of outcomes using fundamental counting principle, all you have to do is to multiply the first event or category, the second event or category, third, fourth, and so on and so forth. Now, let's check if you really understand our lesson for today. So let's play Kahoot! So before we end this day, so I want you to make a digital poster that represents the idea of saving the environment using the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. So I want you to take a picture of it and post it on your Facebook newsfeed following the format: name and sections, as your caption with a hashtag I can save the earth. So that's all for today. So goodbye and thank you. See you again in our online class. Power!